So I'm going to show you some of the network concept that we spoke earlier in a real world example. And this is the easiest way to learn if you're getting started. Anything you learn, try to see if you can check it from your machine perspective, if you can emulate it in your environment, pretty much see how it works beyond the theory of a book. And right now I'm going to show you the basic things in terms of IP. And I'm going to consider you as a complete beginner, and I'm going to cover how you access the actual menus. But if you already know how to reach those places and how to view your network settings and such, maybe you can skip this video. So let's get started with understanding what is the IP configuration of my machine, or what is the IP settings. So there's multiple ways to get there, and there's really no right way, bad way. It's the way that is simple for you, fast for you, and all of them fit the same bill. So one approach is to use this little icon at the bottom right, which is referring to the network icon. And it might look different and might look like a Wi-Fi icon if you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, which is like a few circular lines. But this is the network icon if you're talking about something that is connected using an Ethernet cable. So you can right click on it, open network and internet settings, and you have arrived to the place that gives you a lot of information, very scrambled, but what you're looking for is change adapter settings options or change options. And then you reach this page, which is the page that shows you what are the network adapters that exist in your host, in your device. And you can right click on any of them, click on status, and click on details. And here you're going to see the information that you're after. You can see the physical address, which is the MAC address of your device. You can see the IP address. What is the IP address that is assigned to this machine? As you can see, it's 192.168.1.202. You can see the subnet mask, which is 3x2550, and you can see the default gateway. You can also see below it the DNS server, which is sharing the same IP as the default gateway. And in my environment, and probably in yours as well, the router is giving you both the DNS and the default gateway. So this is something that's very common. But as you can see here, this is how you can view the settings. So what if I want to change the settings? What if I want to modify them? How do I do that? So first of all, you'll need to exit from that menu, click on properties, and then you're able to go into the Internet Protocol version 4, TCP/IP version 4, and if you notice, there is also version 6 below it. I'm not going to touch the differences. There's a lot of things to cover there, but right now, the thing that you're interested in 99.9% of the situation is the IPv4 setting. You click on the properties of the IPv4 settings, and as you can see here, this is a machine that has been configured to use a manual IP address allocation. And as you can see, use the following address, and this is where you actually specify the numbers or the IP or the subnet that you want to configure. And as you can see, I configured the IP address, the subnet, the default gateway, and the DNS server at the bottom. If you want to use DHCP or create or make it assign automatically, you can click on the obtain an IP address automatically, obtain DNS server automatically, and then it will only look for the configuration settings from the network. It will send a query to the network looking for a DHCP server, and then the DHCP server will return the IP address and IP setting that it's supposed to have. I'm not going to configure it with the DHCP because this is something that will not work in my environment, but in general, this is how you can exit out by clicking cancel, and it won't save the setting. Another common way for you to reach the IP connectivity settings, and this is something that you might do more often in terms of troubleshooting or understanding what's going on, is using the command line. So using the command line is very straightforward. You can click on the start, or you can click on the Windows key and R. And obviously I'm referring to the Windows operating system. In Linux and Mac it's a bit different. And then you can either use the Win key R to click CMD, which is the command line interface, and click OK. Or if you use the search button, you can click CMD and it will pop the command line as the first option. When you click on the CMD and open it, the first thing you can do is use the command ipconfig. And if you just specify ipconfig without any other parameters or nothing afterwards, you'll get the summarized information of the IPv4 address, the subnet mask, and the default gateway. As you can see, there's quite a lot of information missing from the graphical user interface, like what is the physical address, what is the DNS server address, and that is because the default command of ipconfig does not give you this information. If you would like to see it, you can use the command ipconfig, but this time specify a / and all, and this will give you all the networking data relevant to this machine, including the things that you've seen earlier from the UI, like is this a physical address, as you can see here. And you can see also the default gateway that you've seen before, but you'll also be able to see the DNS server at the bottom, and a lot of other information that is less relevant at the moment. But as you can see, ipconfig / all will give you all the information as you've seen in the UI. Another word for reference here, why should you use the command line to view these settings? I mentioned it earlier, when you're doing a troubleshooting and you want to start configuring things on the scale and checking how they connect, usually you would like to use the command line interface to issue additional commands. So you would like to see the IP address settings of your local machine and then start communicating with other machines. And this is why the command line is usually the way to go. But either way works if you're just trying to see what is the IP setting or what is the network setting that is being configured on the machine.